Hey, Chance, how are you?
Good morning, Rich. I'm doing well. Thank you for letting me be here.
Absolutely great to see you. I want to introduce Chance Rodriguez, the founder and CEO of Populate, an AI-based EMR for podiatry. And I know he's got some real interesting stuff to talk about, so I'll give it to you, my friend.
All right, good deal. Thanks, Rich. All right, quickly to introduce myself. So I'm Chance Rodriguez. I've spent my whole career studying AI and applying it in healthcare. A few years ago, I started an EMR company called Populate that was really the first EMR for podiatrists. Today, we have 50 practices across the United States with over 150 doctors. We're the fastest growing podiatry EMR with the most satisfied customers. Currently, our offering includes the EMR, practice management, RCM services, and AI, which is what I want to talk about today. So what I want to share with you all is, what is AI really? You've heard this buzzword 100 times every day. So what does it mean? Why should it matter to a podiatrist? And what can it actually do for you right now? So let's call AI computer software. What makes it special is that it can perform reasoning in plain English. If you've played with ChatGPT, you understand what I mean. It speaks the way that we do. It performs tasks that humans don't want to do. It never gets tired. It performs the same task the same way over and over, so it's always consistent. And it can speak multiple languages. I'll talk in a moment about why that's important. So why does it matter to a podiatrist? The reality is podiatry is getting squeezed. As you all know, the reimbursement rates are always lagging behind inflation. Over decades, the amount of administrative work that goes into practice only goes up, which means it costs more labor to make the same amount of revenue. Podiatrists, especially those who want to retire in the next decade, are looking for ways to work less but make the same amount of money. And AI is really the key for saving costs and increasing staff productivity, so you can run lean while still having a thriving practice that does right by its patients. So what does AI really mean in podiatry, and what can it do for podiatrists today? And I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing at Populate and some of the exciting things that we're doing for our practices. So we've decided to name our AI system Rachel, after my wife, who's a doctor, and she's overwhelmed. You can think of Rachel as a full-time assistant that sits in the middle of your practice that can interact with patients, interact with your software, and interact with insurance companies. And it can make calls in each direction and do all the monotonous data entry into your software, so you have accurate record keeping, but more importantly, clean claims and a healthy billing cycle. Some of the things that we use Rachel for are auto drafting a subjective in your note based on intake. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Ambient scribing. You may have seen this, it's becoming more popular. Rachel can listen to a patient-doctor encounter and write your SOAP note for you. Rachel can read your SOAP note and recommend CPT and ICD codes based on what you've documented. Rachel can also scrub your claims. If you put a procedure code as well as an E&M code, but you missed the 25 modifier, Rachel can catch it and add it for you. Rachel, over the phone, can schedule and confirm appointments with a conversation with patients. She can perform intake and gather insurance information and check their eligibility. I can demo that in a moment. Rachel is also calling insurance companies to inquire about denials and rejections. Interestingly, insurance companies are also rolling out AI for this. So in many cases, it's a bot talking to a bot. But if you've ever called insurance about a rejection, you know how robotic of a conversation it is. It's a perfect task for an intelligent computer software to do over the phone. And Rachel can answer questions using your data faster than you can navigate your system. Hey, Rachel, how many canceled appointments did I have last week? How has my productivity increased this month compared to last month? Asking plain English questions can return plain English answers to you to get those insights a lot faster. So I'll go through some of the use cases just to try to make it a little bit more real for you all. Populate offers a digital intake system that is translatable into different languages. It can be filled out on a tablet or a phone. And by asking patients a couple of questions about why they're coming in, Rachel can then draft a paragraph-style subjective section for your note so that you're more prepared for when the patient comes in and you're writing a lot less. One step up from this is ambient scribing. So you're going to say to Rachel, here's how I like my notes written. When it's a plantar fasciitis case, here's the type of things that I like to document in my physical exam. And Rachel will listen to those. Rachel's clever enough to separate out the small talk that you might have with your patients and separate out what's relevant for your note based on your templating preferences. If you're not the type of doctor that wants to have a microphone in the room while you're treating the patient, it also works as a dictation system. So you can speak in plain English to Rachel, and she will structure your dictation into your SOAP note format based on your templating. ICD and CPT code recommendations are really popular. So based on what you've documented, you may deserve certain codes. In many cases, doctors undercode. They are conservative. They don't know if they've met the 214, so they might resort to a 213. But Rachel's clever enough to pick up on the fact that if you spend a certain amount of time or you address a certain amount of complexity, you do deserve that level 4 visit. And so Rachel will recommend some billing codes to you, and you can opt in or opt out of those codes based on which ones you find relevant. So when we roll out Rachel to our practices, some folks like to start small, some folks want the a la carte. And so the way that we've designed our system is to switch on and off Rachel based on which use cases you want. So if you just want Rachel to check eligibility for new patients, you can turn on that use case and not the others. And all these use cases are configurable. Some people like a 3-page, super detailed intake packet that they provide to their patients. Others say, no, I don't want this AI asking 35 questions to my patients. I want to just ask 5. And so you can kind of configure the script that Rachel will go off of, whether it's on the phone or in the digital intake system. So you can customize your patient experience based on how you want your patients to interact with the robot. I'd love to share you a little bit of one use case. Maybe we will go over the patient intake. So I'll show a quick video here.
Hello, this is Rachel from Advanced Foot and Ankle. How may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to schedule an appointment.
Great. Can I have your name and date of birth?
My name is Emily Abbott, and my date of birth is March 12th, 1988.
Great. And what is your insurance?
My insurance is Aetna.
What is your member ID?
My member ID is XB700981.
Great. I can see your coverage is active as of January 1st.
So folks, a lot of offices are using their staff to call patients for scheduling, recalling them to do confirmations or reschedules, then doing intake in the office with a paper packet. And a lot of that time can really just be saved by customizing an agent experience and having Rachel perform those tasks for you so that your staff can focus on more important priorities across the practice, like increasing and improving the patient experience. Your billers might be spending most of their time on hold with different types of insurance companies. Rachel is insurance agnostic. She can master the phone tree of any insurance company and provide the important information that it takes to retrieve denial and rejection information, and that'll populate directly into your system so you can know exactly what needs to be done to modify a claim. So if I had more time today, I would demo more use cases, show off the AI scribe or other robocall features of Rachel. But I want to pause here just in case anybody has any questions about AI and what it means for podiatry, and see if I can be helpful to you. If you don't want to chat, speak up now. You can email at hello@populate.com. I'd be happy to show you what we have and play with AI with you. So, or give you a free trial. Please let me know. All right, I'll stop sharing and I'd be happy to answer anything.
Really, really great. I think technology is just taking just being employed in just great ways for the practices. We're using AI in certain ways. It's not taking over, it's augmenting and making us more efficient in a lot of ways. I think you shared that. So thanks for that presentation. I did put up a poll. Just click on vote now. It's in the chat. Click vote now. Basically, it'll give the Populate team an opportunity to reach out to you if you're interested in learning more or not. So please feel free to do that. Dr. Rabbits asked about the costs associated with it.
So the Rachel really costs anywhere between 12 cents a minute to 20 cents a minute based on what you're using her for. And so if you compare that to the cost of a human to performing a repetitive task like calling patients for confirmations, maybe a front desk or receptionist makes 45, 50K. You're really spending maybe 1/5 of that cost if you're using AI to perform those functions. So you choose how much to use Rachel, how many use cases you want to use across the practice, or whether you basically let her run most of your practice admin operations, and you pay by the minute based on how much you use Rachel.
That's great. So you pay for however much you want to use it, which is fantastic. So you could determine what your budget's going to be. I love the aspect of making your staff more efficient by letting some of these things that frankly a lot of them don't want to do anyway, right? Make them more efficient. So it makes them more efficient. You can put them on other activities and then utilize Rachel to perform these other tasks. So scheduling and insurance verification, all of those things that take time are now able to be automated. Tell me your staff wouldn't appreciate that. So yeah, if you want somebody, obviously, if you have any other questions for Chance, does it interface with any EHR?
The system works best with Populate, our EHR. We're rolling out versions of it that couldn't work with other browser-based systems. So if you're using eClinicalWorks or Athena or something that's available on the web, then some of Rachel's features can be available to you.
Awesome. So it'll be a little bit of an open system. Can it be used offline in case the internet is down?
So the phone-based use cases can work anytime because it's not going to rely on the internet. It just needs a phone line. The ambient scribe will need internet. So it kind of varies based on which things Rachel's doing.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd recommend having a conversation with Chance or someone on his team to talk through your particular use case and whether it makes sense. In not all cases it makes sense, but Chance and I have had numerous conversations, and tremendous supporter, goes to a lot of podiatry conferences and is really building this business around podiatry. And it'd be great to, give yourself an opportunity to reach out to him. So click vote now and say yes or no, and we'll make sure he gets that information. Chance, thank you, man. Great to see you again. Appreciate your support, and we'll talk soon.
Likewise, Rich. Thanks so much
for
having me.
All right. Be well.
All right. Bye-bye.